Hey everyone, it's Susan Pierce Thompson, and I'm sitting here with my dear friend and colleague Ocean Robbins, who is the CEO of the Food Revolution Network. And we're just coming out of this amazing experience, which is called the Food Freedom Launch, and it has been a partnership between Brightline Eating and the Food Revolution Network. And I have been partnered up with the Food Revolution Network for over a year now, which is kind of a pinch me, can this be real experience for me. I cannot possibly begin to express how much I love and respect the work of the Food Revolution Network. The Food Revolution to me is about the movement of changing how food is conceived of, grown, processed, dealt with in our society. As a mother with little kids, it's about changing our norms of what's on kids' menus, of what's served at birthday parties. It's about learning to respect ourselves with food again. And for me, it is the most direct way that I feel like I have influence on a global scale. When I buy the foods that I buy with Brightline Eating at the grocery store, as opposed to a bunch of bags and boxes of processed, food coloring, sugar, flour, junk, I know that I'm changing the world with the purchases that I make. And I've been on the email list in the community of the Food Revolution Network now for about 2 years, receiving the emails on a regular basis. And they are, to this day, one of my primary sources of information about the food system that I live in, about the health value of specific foods. I read the blog faithfully and am constantly impressed by how my experience of being someone who eats on a daily basis is up-leveled by the information that's shared by the Food Revolution Network. So when Ocean Robbins reached out to me in May or June, well over a year ago, to say, hey, I kind of like what you're doing, would you like to partner up? I was pretty flabbergasted. And we've been partnered up ever since, and bring you every fall. So far, this is the second annual, the Food Freedom Launch. So we're just coming out of it. And so you've been following me. I've been emailing you a whole bunch. Sorry about that. I know it's been a lot. I hope it's been okay. I've been emailing you a whole bunch, and you've been mostly watching me on video, but you may not have realized that the Food Revolution Network has been partnered every step of the way in the experience that you just went through. And as someone who's been a part of this Food Freedom Launch, you have membership in the Brightline Eating community and also membership in the Food Revolution Network. And so, Ocean, would you just tell people a little bit about what the Food Revolution Network is, what it means to you, and like why they should be as excited as I am that they get to be a part of it?
I would love to. So we call ourselves the Food Revolution Network, and the word revolution gets bandied about all the time, and it's used for everything from a violent uprising to a new razor blade. But in our case, what we mean by the food revolution is we're recognizing that we live in a toxic food culture where it's considered normal to eat food that's been packed with added sugars and flours and hormones and antibiotics and pesticides and colorings and flavorings and GMOs, and it's not natural, and it's killing us. Mm-hmm. We live in a society
Very
where
literally
1 in 3 of our kids is expected to get diabetes in their lifetime, and we're more than 650,000 Americans are dying every year.
650,000.
650,000 from diseases that are fueled by diet. I'm talking about cancer, heart disease, diabetes, every single year. And all this is directly linked to what we eat. So as we claim food freedom, as we claim authorship over our food choices, one of the really powerful things we can do is to bring those choices into integrity with what we really want for our lives and for our world. So at the Food Revolution Network, we're committed to healthy, sustainable, humane, and delicious food for everybody. We want to see a world with more local, organic, natural, fair trade food, with more plant-strong food, with more nutrient-packed food, with more real food and less processed junk.
Real food, just eat some real food.
It's kind of funny that we have to call ourselves the Food Revolution Network because we want real food,
Yeah,
right?
right.
But that's the reality.
That grows in the
That's
ground,
the reality.
edible.
Yeah, right. More food that comes from plants unless that was produced in plants, basically, right? And
That's a good one. I've heard that one before.
but that's what we're standing for, and we want to give people the information that's necessary to be able to make wise choices. Because some of us have to swim. It feels sometimes upstream. in order to make a conscious choice in a society that's constantly pulling us towards processed junk, where we celebrate birthdays and weddings and parties and give kids treats with candy and sugar and cakes, right? And so to eat real food and healthy food that's good for our bodies takes a change in our thinking and our brains, but it also takes a change in our habits, in our lifestyle and what we buy, where we shop, how we produce food, how we eat food. And so at the Food Revolution Network, we want to illumine those choices, and we want to illumine the political as well as the personal, so that we can create systemic change. We want to create a world where routine use of antibiotics is banned from factory farms, where genetically modified organisms are labeled, where instead of subsidizing commodities crops that ends up making factory farms.
This is the big one in our lifetime.
That's
change
right.
the farm bill. We've got to change those subsidies. We're subsidizing the production of sugar, flour, and meat, factory farmed meat. We have got to change that.
Exactly. And if we're going to, if we could have a free market where we actually just let people buy things without tilting them in that direction. If we're going to subsidize anything, it ought to be things like kale and cabbage and
carrots,
vegetables. And we ought to focus on low-income communities, because those are the hardest hit by our toxic food culture. Right now, it's people of color and people of low income who are facing the highest rates of obesity and diabetes and cancer and heart disease and strokes and dementia, because it's fueled by a toxic diet. And it's those communities that can least afford often healthy real food. And so the subsidies are creating a disproportionate tendency in the direction of junk food in the communities that can least afford it, which I think is a form of classism and racism, to be honest with you. And so I want to see that changed. I want to see real healthy food be affordable and accessible to everybody. So we're committed to political and systemic change. We also want to see doctors teaching nutrition, and therefore taught nutrition.
Learning nutrition.
The average MD in all their years of medical school gets 19 hours of coursework in nutrition in all of medical school.
And most of it's not helpful stuff. They're learning about vitamin deficiencies and, like if you don't eat any vitamin A for 10 years, what happens to your body?
Right.
It's not even really information about how you can use food to heal disease or prevent disease in the first place.
Or how we could save 650,000 people every year just by eating real food. That's not what they're learning. And I have to wonder, if doctors were reimbursed for prescribing broccoli like they're reimbursed for prescribing chemotherapy drugs, would we see more broccoli eaten? It's possible, So we want to change some of the systems, and we also want to empower individuals to be a part of the change and to live your own food revolution, so you don't have to wait for big companies or government policy to change, and you can have the benefits of healthy eating in your life. So here's what you can look forward to. As a member of the Food Revolution Network, you're going to be hearing from us maybe 2 or 3 times a week. You're going to hear updates on what's going on, breaking news in the food movement, insights on superfoods that you can incorporate to your diet to reduce your risk of breast cancer and
all of which are on the
disease.
Bright Line Eating Food Plan.
That's right. We work together pretty well. We're not telling you to go eat sugar here. So it's great. We're going to learn about what you can do to really also bring your friends and family along and be a positive influence on your community. How you can take political action in places that really matter to help create a healthy food culture. And you're going to get right away. We're going to be sending you our top 10 cancer-fighting superfood special report, so you can learn about some of the top foods you can eat if you want to help fight cancer, or you want to help people in your life to fight cancer. These are foods you want to incorporate into your diet on a regular basis. And you can unsubscribe anytime you want to. We don't want anybody on our list who doesn't want to be there. But we're all about helping you, empowering you with the knowledge that you need to thrive and to be a part of the solution.
Absolutely. And I got to say, like I said, I'm on your email list. I read your emails faithfully. Every petition you send out, I read it through, and I'm like, I so believe in this, and I sign my name to it. It's a complete value add to my life to be informed by the information that you put out. So thank you for the work that you do. I'm a member of the Food Revolution. I believe that just by being in the Bright Line Eating movement, you're by proxy a member of the Food Revolution, because what we do is we have our own personal food revolution, and bite by bite, that means that we're changing the world by definition. So these movements, they just fit together like lock and key, right? On the individual level, informing the systemic level. So thank you for the work that you do. And we just wanted to kind of let you know the context of everything that just happened in your life with the food freedom launch that you just went through. And Ocean, I just want to end by saying thank you. Thank you so much for picking me out of the world of people who are doing stuff online and, talking blah, blah, blah about the message that they have to spread. Thank you so much for picking me and partnering with me to bring my message to a broader world. And I'm so excited to partner with you and spread your message to the world as well. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And I'm so excited too, because one of the things we encounter at the Food Revolution Network is how many people want to do the right thing, but don't actually have the ability to do so because they don't know the principles that Susan's teaching. So I feel like so many people I know, people are really close to me, I feel like you've given them a key to find their freedom. And then with that freedom, we want to empower you to make the wisest choices you can for your own liberation and the liberation of our world, so that food can be what it's meant to be, which is an act of communion with our own highest well-being, an act of integrity with what we most want for our lives, an act of stand for a healthy, sustainable future for ourselves and for our planet. So thank you, Susan, for your stand for food freedom. It's such a joy to work with you. And thank you to everybody watching for your stand for food freedom. We look forward to working with you too.